if you're interested in working in information technology, go out and look at the roles within IT and go find some job descriptions. There are many opportunities to work in tech where you don't have to be a programmer. The soft skills are what's going to get you hired more than the tech skills. I would rather hire someone who has the soft skills and train them on the technical skills. If you're adding value, the money will follow. Trust is not given, it's earned. But mentoring is helping people be successful.
All right, guys, thank you so very much for taking our time to watch this video, right? And in this video, I'll be having a series of questions. People have been asking me questions. They'll be asking me, like, okay, Tolu, apart from programming, apart from project manager, apart from non-technical roles that has to do with coding, what other role can they also do, right? So I have searched within my network and I have found someone that is not just doing coding and not just doing project manager, but it's kind of combining both, right? And she's a fantastic person to listen to. Why I brought her today is because she has over 25 years of experience. She's also a safe Scrum Master. She's a technical Scrum Master. She has done a little bit, or I'm not saying not a little bit, she has done a lot in the software quality space, QA engineering space. She has also been in the project management space. So to be honest, she has a vast portfolio, right? And that's one of the reasons I'm bringing her on board, so that we can learn from her wealth of knowledge, right? So in order not to bore you with her introduction, trust me, I can go on and on with the introduction, right? But I'm going to invite Charlene. Charlene is going to come on board and we go into the discussion and we dive right in. So Charlene, thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you so much, Totally. Thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome. All right, so let's get right in, right? Just like in your introduction, I remember when I was bringing you on board, right? And I wanted to just learn from you and much more, right? And I have seen that you have over 25 years of experience taking up different hats, taking up different roles, right? But how did you journey into becoming an agile coach?
Oh, great question. Yeah, because I have been in IT for a really long time. And I will tell you, I started out just working as believe it or not, I started out working in banking. And in banking, I was like this back office, worked in operations. And I ran a system that actually, in the olden days, they would go and request copies of checks and statements. And I actually ran the system that would receive those requests and manage the folks that pulled those copies, and we sent them back out to the branches for the customers. This is before we had the technology we have today. So basically, a company came in, bought that bank out, and I went. They liked the system. They liked the way that it was set up to be used. And so they want to incorporate it in their portfolio of apps. So I was hired into IT. And that was back in the early 90s before the iPhone came out.
Wow.
So that give you date me a little bit, but it brought me to basically testing. And so I worked within a company that, or a bank rather, in a back office that was more of an IT like project management position. I started out doing that. I started out testing the integration of that system into their system. And so that led me into QA. And I worked in QA for many, many, many years.
Wow.
Different organizations. I am a native Atlantan, so I'm still here in Atlanta, Georgia. So I work for different companies within Atlanta in the QA space. Actually, while I was working in QA, I've done other things as well. I've done some release management, just kind of like some other things on the side. But more than anything, I really liked working QA, but I was really intrigued by the Scrum Master role. So I would start to offer up my help to back up the Scrum Master, like when they were on vacation. And I worked on a sprint team for many years. And so that was my first dipping my toe into the Scrum Master world. And I really liked took my experience of project management and incorporated it in an agile mindset to be a Scrum Master. From there, I was hired into many companies as a technical Scrum Master because I have the technical expertise. Most of the time, I got that working in QA because even though I worked on a wide variety of solutions, majority of them were server side or back end. So that's more of the technical components. In other words, apps, things, APIs, database changes, things that had no UI. And even though I had done other solutions that had UIs like mobile and some other solutions, these particular ones that I worked in gave me that technical expertise.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm working on a Scrum team or a sprint team as a QA or QA lead. I'm testing. I'm also being a backup Scrum Master. Then I went into the Scrum Master role full time. And then from there, was basically promoted to an Agile Coach role. And so my foot to get into the Agile Coach was having more of a broader view. In other words, not just the immediate sprint team, being able to come across with what are the best practices as a Scrum Master that can be shared across the company, no matter what projects you're leading for many groups of people at once, more of a standardization. And that's how I became an Agile Coach.
Wow. I love the way you put it together, right? To be honest, right? I love the way you started from you telling us your journey from where it started to where you are, right? So in order not to bore you with what I wanted to say next, I wanted to say, what does it actually take from someone being, because I love your journey from being a QA and you rose up the ranks to be an Agile Coach, right? But what's the difference between a Scrum Master and an Agile Coach? Because I see so many people saying they're a Scrum Master and they're also an Agile Coach. What's the difference?
Yeah, that's a great question because I still execute both roles in my current position, even though my title is an Agile Team Coach where I am now. I still lead teams as a Scrum Master. I don't think that ever goes away. But more than anything, the way that I look at it is the difference is Scrum Master, you're leading all of your teams in a Scrum framework to be able to provide, some sort of increment that you can promote to production within let's say a 2-week period or whatever your sprint, however long your sprint is, anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. An Agile Coach is going to come in and help guide the people who are Scrum Masters to understand best practices to improve on that. They also can help Agile Coach as an organization level to remove blockers that are more than just what the sprint team faces, but what maybe 10 sprint teams face, organization wide. So what does that mean? More like helping to manage releases, working with change management, working with, let's say, monitoring teams, info security, all of the DBAs, all the other what I call external lines of business, if you will, outside of your sprint team. Yeah. So more of a organizational approach, and helping Agile Coach can also help lead, which I do at my company, what's called the Agile transformation.
Yeah.
So in other words, it's not just that your software development teams are moving towards an agile approach. It could be all the other lines of business as well. So helping to promote agile across the organization, whether it be, a DevOps team, HR, marketing, whatever. So that's another way of difference between the two. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much, right? I'm going to dive into the next conversation, right? Because a friend asked me a question sometimes back, and the person asked me that, okay, if you want to sell your value to an organization that don't understand what Scrum Master is, technical Scrum Master is, Agile Coach. So basically, what's the value of having all these roles in an organization?
Yeah, absolutely. The value is that you can provide more of a holistic view of transformation. In other words, you're not coming in and just providing value in one piece of it or one sector. It's the agile as a whole. So you're able to come in and from, the beginning all the way till, A to Z, so to speak, you're able to provide value in every aspect of the process of the transformation for every line of business. And that is more what an agile coach should be doing. And there's levels within agile coaching. So I'm more of a team coach. So I come in and I will tell you at my company, I'm known as what they call the cleaner or the fixer. So I get all of the, we'll say, the troubled teams. I'm trying to say that in a nice way. But there are teams that come in like they're brand new, or maybe they reformed, and you have people that have not had training, that do not understand maybe Agile, or do not understand Scrum or Kanban or whatever framework that you follow. And it could be a combination of the two. There's a lot that have what we call combined frameworks. So coming in and helping them understand the best practices and coaching not only the team members, but also the Scrum Masters on what needs to be followed in order to find quicker successes to get things promoted to production. But it also includes other things as far as reporting up, and I have a whole nother talk about that. I don't want to go in that detail here, but, being able to manage up and down. So an agile coach is going to be more managing the team, that's managing down, with helping them understand what they need to follow and giving them direction. It's not just holding ceremonies, or managing up, being able to report up to leadership, the successes of the team and where the opportunities for change, as well as, any type of blockers that we have company-wide, that we can help find opportunities to help them as well.
Well, thank you so much for throwing light about that, right? And to be honest, I felt as you're talking, sometimes people don't see the value behind that, but I'm going to hold that thought. So we have been training a lot of big words around. We have been training Scrum Master, we have been training Agile Coach, but how will you describe in one sentence, right? Who is a Scrum Master and who is an Agile Coach?
A Scrum Master is going to be someone who basically helps to implement Scrum and all the things around it to the team members to help them be successful and promote whatever their changes are that they're developing to production within the end of the sprint, whatever that is, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever time frame they've set. An agile coach is going to come in and help them be successful with more of an overseeing type viewpoint. They're also going to help the Scrum Master promote all the things to help the team be successful to meet those goals faster. For example, promoting psychological safety. That's just one example. So that's like probably the big difference in my mindset. Now, every agile coach you talk to is probably going to give you a different answer to that question, because everyone has a different approach, but that's my approach.
Well, thank you so much for throwing light about the difference between the Agile Coach and the Scrum Master, right? And I feel we need to go into people go on to transition into tech, right? I have seen so many people saying that, is it you have to be a programmer to get into tech? I don't know. Is that true or is not true? What do you think?
It depends on what the person is interested in doing. Okay. So this is my take. This is what I tell people. If you're interested in working in information technology, go out and look at the roles within IT and go find some job descriptions and see the requirements. And if that's something that interests you, then start focusing on learning everything you can to help yourself be successful to meet the requirements for the position you're interested in. Okay. And that could be any way, shape, or form that you can learn. It could be from videos. It could be from whatever's the best for you, reading books, taking classes, whatever those things may be to help get yourself focused up. But I will tell you, before you apply for any position, even entry level, make sure that you have read up on, what you're interested in. If you're not, go look at many roles and look at the different job descriptions to see the differences. there are many opportunities to work in tech where you don't have to be a programmer. So I don't want to give that hope. It's not like you're required to be. I do not write code, but I know enough to read it. I know enough to point out when I know there's something wrong, just because of my years of experience. And there's different ways you can get experience. If you don't know how and you don't work in IT, start looking up many opportunities where you can even volunteer. So, for example, in Atlanta, they have Atlanta Tech Village. That's the name of it. They have opportunities with startups that are forming at Atlanta Tech Village for people who for Scrum Masters or project managers to get in and donate their time to get the experience. And that you can put on your resume. So it's a accredited, group. You look them up on meetup.com and just connect with them. And that's just in Atlanta. But I'm just saying anywhere, there's probably other opportunities that are out there. There are also what they call paid internships. Those are primarily offered to college students. And at that age and level, at the very beginnings, if you're interested, I actually have had many interns. Most of them want to be Scrum Masters or project managers that they have come under my direction, and I've helped them with the tools they need to be successful. So it's usually a summertime internship or a short period of time. But there's a lot of tech companies that offer the paid internships where you can actually get paid during your time off from school and learn, get a head start, so to speak. Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And as you're talking, you actually touched a bit about for those who wants to transition into tech without any experience, the place of volunteering, the place of even asking questions that, okay, what are the JD of this particular job I want to apply for, right? And you touch a bit about it, which is very, very educative, right? And I feel we need to move this next to the next discussion. What's one soft skills, right, that have helped people to strive in their role, even though they are not experts? What are those kind of skills people should be looking forward to having?
I will tell you probably the soft skills are what's going to get you hired more than the tech skills. We can train people that don't know the technical skills. But if you have the soft skills, they're going to look at you in a different light, the interviewers, if you will. I would rather hire someone who has the soft skills and train them on the technical skills. And the reason why is because I would love to have people come work with me that have that professional demeanor. For example, they can not rely on AI for everything. I don't want to talk about AI on this, but I'm just saying it is not the solution for everything. You need to be able to hold a conversation and write a decent email and be able to communicate with folks on a professional manner. I will tell you a situation I had where I interviewed someone for a project management position, and I counted on my notebook I took notes of how many times he said the word like in 15 minutes. And it was overwhelming. And I basically thanked him and sent him on his way. I do not want to have someone come in that cannot speak in a professional manner, that cannot write a professional, email. Have some sort of excellence presence at your interview with your interviewer. Don't talk to them like they're your best friend. That's probably the biggest thing that I can share with you from my experience, is having someone who is professional, ready, and can communicate, because that is dependable, professional, ready, communicate. Those are probably the top things for me. I literally have had people that were scheduled for interviews and they just didn't show up, or they were late. I mean, there's a lot of things that I can tell you that I have encountered being an interviewer. But these are the things I would focus on, is making sure that you are prepared, you know something about the company, you can speak at a professional level, and you can communicate orally and written on a professional level. That's key. And show up. And then after you get hired, immediately add value. That's the big thing. Whatever you can do to show that you have value to add and you can help the company succeed, they're going to obviously consider you for the position. So those are my tips.
Wow.
That are soft skills.
Yes. But to be honest, right, I love the way you put it together, right? I'm going to kind of emphasize it. You said the place of preparedness, the place of communication, both speaking and oral, and being able to even write it down, right? And the place of showing up, because trust me, there's some days where showing up is not what you want to do, right? And the place, and most importantly, the place of adding value, because people are chasing the money, but they don't know how to create the value, right? But it's having the mix of both, right? But I'm going to move to the next conversation.
Well, I want to say one more thing about that. If you're adding value, the money will follow. Because if you're adding value, they want to keep you as an employee. Think about it. And no matter what job you're doing, at what company, if you're adding value, they're going to reward you, right? Merit increases, whatever, bonuses. But that's where the money will follow. You have to add value constantly on a regular basis. So definitely.
Well, thank you so much. Right. And for me, as you're telling your story for how long you have been in this IT space, right? You have been in the IT space for over 25 years, right? But there's a question that I keep hearing from ladies. They say that the information technology space is a male-dominated domain, right? But as a lady, how have you been able to grow in that space and you are seen as an agile coach?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Yes, I will tell you, it is very well known that the IT space is more of a male-dominated space. However, as a female, you have to add value, improve your worth, but you can be, accepted. I do want to emphasize, if you're looking at a company as a possible future employer, look and see if they have any females in leadership positions. If not, I would ask the question, why? Also look and see that they have a DEI program where they're supporting that, and that's diversity. If they are not, I would ask the question, why not? Those are flags to me. Now, I've been very lucky that the company that I'm in, I report directly to the CIO. So he is very open and a wonderful people leader. And we do have women in leadership positions. And I'm very much accepted as far as what the value that I offer. But I had to work into that acceptance. It wasn't just given. It's like trust. Trust is not given, it's earned.
Yeah.
However, you do have to remember the most important thing out of this whole talk today is to add value. Okay, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, even if you're a female, it is a little bit harder as far as you're looking at the top level positions and most of them are held by men. However, it's not impossible. Now, I personally do not have a desire to move to the C-suite level position. That's just me. But if you have that desire and you have the, ability to do so, please, I encourage you to do it. But make sure that you're looking at companies that already have women in those leadership positions, because that's going to be the ones you should be interested in that will be promoting, that has that opportunity for you. But I am in a leadership position at my company. I'm just not in the C-suite. I have no desire to do that. My position at my company is more like I would consider it more like a director level position. So even though I'm not a director, it's considered in that space, if you will.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for that, right? Because one thing, you're going to move to the next conversation, right? Because I don't know if you have ever faced moments where in your career there were pushbacks, right? And you had to prove yourself. How were you able to navigate that season?
That's a great question, because I think it doesn't matter if you're male or female or your skill set. There's always going to be pushback for everybody in whatever IT position that you're in or any other company or job. I think the most important thing is to go to your manager and have a conversation and be very real and say, and lay it out, even if you have to do it in writing, taking notes in front of them, but have a face-to-face, whether it be through Zoom or in person or Teams or whatever tool, and say, what do you expect from me? And let them be clear about it with you. And then you understand how you have to meet those expectations and together come up with a plan, but don't come empty-handed to your manager. Come with some opportunities that you can to meet those expectations and ask your manager, is this going to be acceptable to meet your expectation, whatever that may be? And just basically having a very honest, open conversation with your manager. And soon over time, again, that builds value for you, credibility for you, and trust. And therefore, you should not have that pushback. You know what I mean? You're on the same page. I work very hard with my boss that I have now to get to the point where basically they've given me a lot of things to do, assignments with full authority to manage them because I've earned their trust. It didn't come overnight.
Yeah.
So understand that this is a path to get there. It's not going to happen overnight typically, but it can be met. Okay?
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing, right? And for me, it's going to move to the next conversation, right? I know you volunteer at Tech Bridge and you mentor others. But the real question or the real discussion we want to have is, does mentorship really make a difference in breaking into tech?
Oh, yes. So one of the opportunities I'm so happy to have been involved with is a nonprofit here in Atlanta called Tech Bridge. And I came into it many years ago. I still come anytime they request me. And basically, this program has people that are trying to get into technology that have never done it before. And it could be different levels of skills. Like it could include people who are veterans, people who are younger, just all across the board. And they're really interested in it. And so the program is great about bringing industry level people like me to the voice of reality of technology for them to ask questions. And we usually have a topic or I'll have a workshop. One of the things that I have focused on with them is helping them with like their elevator speech or preparing them for interviewing. Just anything I can do to help them with success. I've done a training on Scrum and Agile with them before for people who are interested in being a Scrum Master. So basically just, being open to learning anything new constantly. That took me to starting a mentorship program. And basically, I am a mentor or a success coach, they call it there, but it's the same thing. And mentorship is important because it's more than just the skills in IT, but yes, skills are a lot. Skills being, the ability to write code, the ability to be a DBA, all of this, what I call hard skills. But mentoring is helping people be successful. You're not doing the things for them. You're giving them the recommendations for them to follow, which is part of this talk today.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this can also be viewed as a mentorship. So I think it's very important. We do have a mentorship program at the company I work for now, Corpay, and I was the one who brought it to the company. And now it's been, it started out in what we call an ERG, which is a small group. And they took it to our HR department who really expanded it. And now it's company wide. And it's been going on for the past few years. I am a mentor here and the mentorship program's free. They provide it to employees. They also have restrictions on who can be a mentor. It's not just anyone. Yeah. But the nice thing is you're mentoring folks that are, requesting mentorship. So they're interested in it and it goes both ways. There's a guideline that we follow, whether you're a mentor or mentee, and really helping others be successful in whatever position they are. I usually mentor people who are in the IT space, but I have mentored people in marketing and some other areas, and it could be anything, just whatever they can do to be successful. And, you know, giving them recommendations for like, you know, books to read or things to do, how to manage up and down. Just I've mentored across the board, but it is very important to have a mentor. And I will tell you this, I have a mentor even today.
Wow.
After all the years that I've worked in IT, I don't have all the answers. As an agile coach, I have a mentor of a person that I used to work for at another company who is, he calls himself an agile chief methodologist, some made up name, but he's a great guy who I go to when I have questions or need some guidance. And he does not work for my company, but he's such an asset to my life. And I will tell you, it is important to not only have a mentor, but to strive to be a mentor in the future for our future generations to come, especially in IT. So I want to plant that seed now. If anybody is interested in looking up mentorship, finding out what it's all about, and every company follows a different path for mentorship, but I really like the way that it provides an opportunity for people to get guidance, and it's outside of their manager. So they're feel free to speak. This is safe space. And I think people need that, especially today. So I have seen leaps and bounds of people thriving, not just surviving, that has gone through mentorship. So I think it's a very well worth program. And it doesn't matter if you work in IT or not. I think everyone needs some sort of a mentor in their life.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. So as we bring the session to a close, right, I know you live by a motto called protect the team, protect the sprint. Can you share what that means in practice to you?
Absolutely. Anybody who is a project manager or a Scrum Master will probably know what I mean by my motto that I work by, which is protect the team, protect the sprint. As a Scrum Master, protecting the team, well, this is more of an Agile coach and Scrum Master role. Protecting the team, I'm protecting them from anyone outside of their focus. So in other words, if they are focused on their assignments and they have blockers or they have other people trying to come in and add scope creep to their projects, I work very hard on protecting them and kind of keeping those people at bay so that they can stay focused on their work and complete their work on time. I think that's important. Less interruptions. That's the focus. Protecting the team from outside, let's say, other lines of business. It could be from release managers, could be from DBAs, whatever, marketing, info security, whatever departments there are at your company. But keeping those people, at bay so that your sprint team can focus on their assignments and complete them on time. That's protecting the team. Protecting the sprint is to not allow scope creep. As we all know, there is such a massive amount of, oh, wait, the business wants this done. Oh, and they want to add this and they want to add this. And there's a hard line in that. You need to, as a Scrum Master, kind of what I call hold your own, hold the line. Keeping your team focused on their assignments. That is one of the 5 Scrum values is, commitment, focus. I think we need to stay true to those and steer clear of all the distractions. So basically, I'm protecting the team. And if you do this, your team is going to love you and trust you as a Scrum Master and know that you've got their back. And that's basically what I'm trying to incorporate those as soft skills as Scrum Masters and project managers so that you can get your team to trust you, earn their trust faster. And the more they trust you, the more they're going to trust each other and the more work they're going to get done and provide more value. And that's the whole ecological cycle of this. Yeah. So being able to help the team stay focused. And that's what I mean by protect the team, protect the sprint. Mm-hmm.
Wow. You said something, and I'm going to reemphasize it just for emphasis sake, right? And you said the place of focus, because I feel most teams are dealing with a lot of distraction, right? And if they can just tune down to what they need to get done, value is created. We keep mentioning value. And it's important for us to keep creating that value by keeping the team focused to what they need to do. All right. So This is the last part of the session, right? And so if someone is watching this right now, right, what's one takeaway or what mindset they can shift right now that will help them to succeed in tech? What would it be?
Provide value. That's it. As simple as that. Whatever you're doing, it's not just, let me say this, don't just do the bare minimum. Take a step beyond that, whatever task that you've been assigned, and provide value. Okay? Start measuring outputs, not outcomes. Start providing value. And if you need to go ask someone, what would you consider being more valuable than just this outcome? That's what you need to do to find out what you need to provide value. Do it. Go have a conversation with whoever at your company to understand what will give you more of a valuable outcome to your leadership, and start doing that. And then take a step beyond that to provide more value. Then you're going to be noticed. Then you're going to be recognized. You'll be trusted. You'll build credibility. The money will follow. That is probably my biggest tip.
Wow.
But it all starts with providing value.
Wow. I love the way you started the conversation from creating value to us bringing the conversation to a close to still creating value. But in one word or in one sentence, what do you want to leave the viewers with?
Never stop learning, always provide value, and be open to new experiences. And you can do it.
All right. Thank you so very much for taking our time to be here. We truly appreciate. I know it took a lot of time for us to make this happen, but it eventually happened. And thank you so much. So guys, if you're watching this video, as much as possible, take our time to rewatch it, because there is so much value in the conversation that was said today, right? So don't just watch it alone, but watch it with a colleague, with a friend, and share it and comment. Thank you so much, and do have a great time.